And we're back. It's Cassidy and Jackie with our newest edition. Yeah. We're so happy to welcome Hannah to Kindness Across Abilities, our nonprofit organization geared to supporting the autism community and their loved ones.
So Hannah, let's get to know you. What drives or inspires you?
I think what drives and inspires me, I don't know, it really is working with the kids. I've been working with kids for a while, and something I love about kids is they're unfiltered. They're true to themselves, the good, bad, and ugly, like everything included. And I don't know, that inspires me. I think kids really just follow their intuition. They go off their gut and they don't I don't know, they don't second guess it like we do as adults, and that really inspires me. And it inspires me to want to encourage that.
Yeah,
I guess you know.
I can see that. It's definitely something I want more in my life too.
Yeah, I
That's
just have
true.
that confidence.
Yeah. What's the greatest lesson in
Hmm. I think the greatest lesson that I've learned in life so far is probably that you have to take care of yourself. All your aspects. If you're not taking care of yourself, just in my own personal life, I've learned it catches up to you. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. You got to feel. You got to feel what you're feeling. You got to go through it. And I feel like that kind of goes back to the last question, like what inspires me. I think that I wish I had learned how to handle some of those things earlier in my life, like emotional skill management and paying attention to that part of yourself. Yeah, I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned is how important checking in with yourself is, and being aware of yourself.
That's a beautiful lesson. Yes.
I think that comes a lot just with age too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like as you go on in life, and you're like,
Making mistakes.
yeah, I see why I made that choice.
Yeah.
It still wasn't a good choice, but I see why.
Acceptance too.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
And then your body just screams like, I can't do that anymore. You can't.
Come soon, right?
Right. Seriously.
Oh my gosh. What's your favorite cuisine? Like if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
If I could only eat one meal, I'm a beach girl at heart, and I love seafood, so it would have to be lobster ravioli.
Ooh, that's
That's
good.
like
Seafood in general, I do not see.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Say,
Even if it was like questionable lobster ravioli.
no.
Questionable lobster ravioli.
Yeah, frozen lobster ravioli is not okay.
Exposure.
Like, I guess just like fresh as possible is my preference. Yeah, lobster ravioli, man. I guess probably, yeah, fresh. New York,
Yes.
gotta go to New York. That's really the only place I can recommend to you to get lobster ravioli.
Really? I have never been up that way. Like Maine.
See, now I would love to go to Maine.
Yes.
Maine is probably the real place to go, but I'm.
I like that.
So
Well, we'll have to make a trip. We'll do
Yeah.
a kindness branch to Maine, and we'll have a lobster.
yeah, I was about to say that.
Bring the lobster. We'll help you, hang out with your kids.
Oh, I was gonna say I can cook.
Oh yeah, bring the cooked lobster. We'll eat. We'll talk about, strategies and things like that. What's a funny or unusual fear that you have? Or like your biggest fear?
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's so tricky. I feel like my funniest fear, this is gonna sound so weird. I don't like holy things. I don't like like sponge.
I don't necessarily-
Yeah.
Peach pit.
Ooh,
Doris
ooh.
hates peach pit
Ooh.
scabs.
Yeah.
There's a name for it.
Yeah, there is.
Phobia.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know, like beehives and stuff. So
Okay.
I don't know why that's
Like
freaky.
larger,
the
like
bees
caves
coming in and
too?
out of it. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like hidden spaces that I'm like, what's in there?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the
that way.
heck is in there?
Yeah,
I don't like
and
that.
it's something that's almost like a beehive thing
Right.
for me to do. Like we're never gonna know. You have to take a tiny microscope. I'm sure some scientists just don't know.
Probably, but it wouldn't
They
be.
should have never destroyed that honey. Yeah.
So how intense is the fear? Like it got some honey and it had a full little.
That wouldn't be too bad, but I feel like it's more like weirdly, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like sometimes, like if you're walking in the woods or something, you'll see like a weird mushroom and it'll be all like weird and like,
Yeah.
or like rotting, like with the little holes and stuff in it. And I'm like,
That like makes your skin crawl.
yes.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Okay.
Kind of
So the
funny.
next one, what we should do is we have to face our fears on the next meeting because there's like sprouts that have that honeycomb that you can eat.
Oh wow.
It's like a chocolate covered honeycomb.
Oh.
You know? And then
I'm trying to think what's my fear that I have to face, like somebody disorganizing my house.
yeah, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna rearrange her furniture so it doesn't make sense. And
Mess up all the fun.
yes, but like don't tell her. So when she comes home, it's just like, who moved that cat?
And then it's glued down.
Right. It's okay.
That's true.
That's true.
Oh my God.
What are we doing for you?
I think I said mine was like riding a bike.
Oh, you already overcame yours. That's why it was
I
so
need a new
cool.
one.
Mhm.
I mean, I could get on a bicycle I can't get off of because that still really freaks me out.
Like you constantly pedaling for the rest of your life. What does that look
Yeah, but
like?
I'm like, I don't know how to get down. And the last time I did this and I didn't do it well, I like broke my jaw. Like,
Oh my god.
that's what is terrifying, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
we just need to find a very tall man and be like, can I borrow your bicycle for just a second? There's like a 90% chance I'm gonna hit something with it
Yeah.
or destroy it, but it's for good cause.
Actually, I'm gonna go face a fear today because I'm gonna take my kids to the fair, and I don't like the unreliable fair rides, especially
Okay.
the ones that go. But they're like, all about it. They're so much braver than me, so
Yeah.
I'll videotape my fear.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. That's perfect. That makes sense too. To be
Yeah.
honest. They're a little scary. to
So
think
I
about.
would be fine with the rides. It's all the people for me.
Okay, that's fair.
Like I'm like, they're gonna scatter. Like,
Oh yeah, the kids.
yeah. It's true. It's true. Because if I mean, hopefully they never realize this, but I mean, if they all took off in different directions,
Oh.
like what are you gonna do?
Right. Yeah.
Sophie's choice, I guess.
You pick the slowest one. You follow them.
Pick up the slowest one and then keep going towards the
Yeah,
fastest one.
but that's another good fear.
For me, like at places like fairs, for me, it's the smells.
Okay,
You-
that kind of.
Do you know what I mean? And like, this sounds bad. Like, I love people. People are great, but like, there's like a grossness factor of like, we're all outside. It's hot. It's sweaty. People don't smell good. Trash cans don't smell good.
Yeah.
And then like food smells mixed.
Yeah, and it's just like piling like
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I'm very easily overstimulated by like smell.
Mhm.
So to me, the fear is just like a lot to do.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting perspective. Yeah. Because I'm sure so many people struggle with that.
Yeah.
Old factory
Right.
stimulation.
yeah.
That wouldn't really phase me. Does it trigger nausea?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I think that too, it's like, it's a compacting thing. Like, as the fear gets more crowded and the smells get more crowded, it's like one of those feelings where I almost feel like I need to shower. This is gross.
Okay.
Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's like that ick feeling. Gives me the ick.
Yeah.
But I loved the fair as a kid. It's funny how it changes as an adult. You're maybe more aware of those smells as an adult. I don't know.
Yeah. The smells and the possibility of death and that's what it was a child.
I mean, this is really like who
Right here.
yeah, like who created this? It's like very
It's really on theme for Halloween. It's a haunted attraction for adults.
That's so true.
That's true. Oh my
In real life haunted
Oh,
attraction.
Oh my god.
people are comfortable going through the house.
I think so too.
Or that glass thing was just so messed up.
Mhm.
Like who created that? Like, well, we're gonna watch people go through and slam their faces up against it. They can walk through it. Like,
Yeah. And then they're stuck in a room solely of themselves. And it's like, get me out of here.
you always go to like the emotional aspect. It's like, man, I feel
You're still trying to find a way.
I used to always get like all the way through the fun house as a kid, and then we'd get to the rope ladder. Or
Okay.
whatever even as a kid, like in McDonald's play pieces, like the again the holes. the
yeah.
openings, because it's like something could fall through or
Yeah.
like something could be down there, like ready to get
Yeah.
me. So I've never trusted that.
Fair.
Never.
Yeah.
I would get up there and then I'd be like, Mom, come get me. I'm not going down.
Oh my goodness.
She's like, I told you to stay down here. Next year, where were you?
Right.
Yeah, back in
Oh
the
my gosh. Oh man. I think everyone has like one of those stories where you get into a situation and you're like, I take this
Yeah.
back home.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought I
Come
could
get me.
handle it.
Yeah.
And I changed my mind.
Yeah.
So I felt about adulthood.
Actually,
Wait, I'm not ready.
no lie.
Yeah. My mom didn't come get me.
Do you guys have any other questions?
Cassie?
I think that maybe people watching would like to know a little bit more about your experience with autism. Like, okay, this is a fun one. What was your first exposure to someone who was neurodiverse, like, or like someone who you maybe, yeah.
Okay. So the first person would be my mom. She had a best friend and they had just adopted two little boys. And she had taken these little boys from a pretty crazy situation. They both had a lot of medical issues, things like that. So she knew going into it that both boys were going to have a lot of complications. They weren't totally sure what those complications would look like. So the first person would be Nick, and that was her son, and he got diagnosed with autism, I want to say at 2. And this would have been early 2000s. So that was my first experience. And as a kid, it's funny because I guess like I was aware that he was different. And that there was something different about him, but it's so funny when you're a kid, it's kind of like, I don't know, like I didn't think too much about it.
Yeah.
I knew that he was different from me. I knew that he had
Okay.
different needs. And I knew things like that. And I knew, like, I remember feeling like I wanted to make sure I didn't upset him as much as other kids and things like that. But to me, he was like, you know, he's like 6 years younger than me. And I was always like very nurturing. So I was like, this is my little buddy.
Oh,
I'm going to stick around him everywhere. And I think that was my first exposure.
that's a beautiful story because you got to be exposed to someone who had different needs, that which we all do, but
Right.
in a safe environment where you
Yeah.
could be nurturing. Because I unfortunately was very ignorant to people who weren't like, you know, neurotypical in the classroom with me, like, oh, we're all complying and just blindly listening and following directions without any really, you know, divergent from that. And then my first exposure was children in the hall and only seeing them in the hall and
Yeah.
just getting that snapshot and not having any context and being like, okay, they're different, but I don't know how, except for the visual things I can see. And I really like that exposure.
Yeah.
So it probably should be more often than not in an intimate way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too. I mean, I remember as a kid, like a lot of the behavioral things, especially when he was younger and he was nonverbal, his behaviors were very extreme at different times in his life, depending on what he was going through and the things that were affecting him. And I remember as a kid, that being frightening to me. Something I really loved about my mom's best friend, Michelle, is that like she wasn't afraid of those uncomfortable conversations.
Nice.
Like it was not inappropriate for me to admit to her, like, I'm scared right now. Because I think that is something that when you only see it from a snapshot, like you're saying, from your perspective, it can look intimidating.
Yes.
It can be even frightening, maybe. And I think that that's not something that's taught, is like that, like you said, like it's different, but there isn't a way to like approach it. And there is a way to understand and have compassion. I think being able to ask those questions and understanding that sometimes he just needed space.
Yeah.
Sometimes he just needed to do his thing, be Nick.
Yeah.
And sometimes the best thing you can do is accept him for who he is, and that's okay too. And I think that also, like, to your effect, that was a really looking back on it now, that was a beautiful experience because not a lot of people get to have that experience, and not a lot of other children get to have
Yes.
that experience and
Yeah.
that learning experience.
Yeah, we've talked about this many times, because like we didn't have that exposure. We didn't have the opportunity. So we were driving in the car somewhere, right? And who did I ask, Mia or Nora? And I said, so we were talking about autism.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah. And we're like, do you guys know what autism is? I think it was,
okay.
yeah. And she gave a pretty well described definition. She had like an idea of like what it was. It was really cool to hear and see that she wasn't completely unaware. Like she had seen it, she had some kind of concept around it.
Yeah, it was me because Nora was like, "Oh, it's when they can't breathe well." And I'm like, "That's very close to try."
Yeah. Sometimes people with autism have asthma.
Right, with the comorbid.
Yeah. But they are good.
Yes, that is very true.
Oh,
Yeah, some conversations for sure. And you brought up another story with Monty, being very inquisitive about someone with different,
Oh yeah.
needs and things.
They had a trach and they were in a wheelchair. Like, they, in a wheelchair, why do they look like that? Like what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And I explained it to her. And the parent was there and she was like, I'm surprised you even knew what it was.
Okay.
Most people don't. And she said most people just kind of like look and don't, and they say like, shh, be quiet.
That's what my parents would do.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, don't ask, don't talk, we don't look away. And it's like, they're a person. Like, let's acknowledge them. Like, let's say hello.
Yeah.
And let's learn about their needs.
And I think that
different.
when we as a parent or an adult get uncomfortable and respond that way, like we mean well.
Yes.
And I think that does make that situation more intimidating.
Yeah.
And then you don't learn and you're not aware. And, I think sometimes as adults, we're afraid to make mistakes. Like we were talking about, like as a kid, we're just like, I want to know. Question. Can I have an answer?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We're at the pool. Oh, I had Nora at the pool.
Okay.
And they were playing a game. And it's like the group of kids. So there's like 5 of them. And this little boy comes up. And he's like, I want to play. And they kind of like didn't hear him at first. And I'm like, they're both playing loudly. And I'm like, you got to get in the group and like tell them, like, they'll play with you. Like, they're not ignoring you. They just can't hear you. So it gets in there more. And they're all like kind of huddled around this little post thing. And it was hilarious because they were playing rock, paper, scissors. Boys versus girls in a group of like 6 kids. So this is like team rock, paper, scissors. Okay. And nothing comes of rock, paper, scissors. And then they stand up and they go jump in the pool. So that's like the game they were playing. This is exactly. And so they had separated themselves, boys versus girls. And so he comes up and he's like ready to play. And Nora's like, okay, you're gonna be on the boys team. And then she stopped and she was like, wait, you're a boy, right? And he's like, yes. And she was like, okay, great. And then they like moved on. And it was like, I saw it and I was like, wow, why do we make things so uncomfortable? He was like, wait, yes, good. Okay, you're on the right team. Cool. Like, you want to be on that team, we'll move you and then let's go. Like, it was so such a, and he didn't face him. He was like, yeah. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
And it's simple.
So easy.
I know they have so much more to teach us. Than
That's why we're here. We're students.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah, seriously.
Maybe they do know. They're probably, my mom drops me off here.
Yeah.
To help these people every day. It's like a full-time job.
Some of the kids do think that. I really do.
Yeah.
I have a couple off the top of my head that treat me pretty well. So
Yeah. It's almost like humbly like, I'm sorry, I don't have a whole lot to offer you.
Yeah. It's okay.
When they don't want to engage with us, like, I get it.
Yeah.
What do I have to offer you? Like, let me know if you see anything interesting about what's going on.
Let me know when
I
you're
can't really blame you.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Yeah, no, those are good questions. I really wasn't even expecting those questions, Cassidy. That was a good one.
Them,
Those are some good ones.
Some things I just thought about. because I think that all people are innately good and we all mean well. We just get wrapped up in the way our minds have been conditioned by our culture or our experiences. And if we don't take a second and reflect and remember that there's always more to learn, and that's why I just an ode to the autistic individuals, like the ones that are like, no, you can't put me in a box. It's big enough for all this. And they're like teaching us, like, oh yeah, every child has something to say. And we can learn from all of them. Every individual is different and we need to make space for them.
Yeah.
So just happy to be a part of something that supports them to keep doing that.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Better place.
Yes. So thank you for joining us today and stay on the lookout because we're going to be having a couple more events coming up and you'll see us on our podcasts and videos coming up soon.
Awesome. You guys will see me on social media soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Yes. Stay brave.